Oh, thank you.
Welcome back, man. We missed you. Okay, and don't let these guys fool you. All right, they sit here and act like they play hard to get, but they all missed you too.
I already expressed that, so.
Yeah.
So I was wondering this year, obviously you've talked about Josh being, you've phrased the head coach of the defense. So just curious, the role you've taken defensively, do you give Josh some thoughts on a sheet of paper each week? Do you meet with him and give your opinion on things that you should or should be doing? Or have you just left him to himself, basically, as far as game playing, strategy, personnel decisions?
No, that's another layer of Chris Greer and Tom Garfinkel's genius and whoever made this building is that our offices are 10 yards away. So, that's constant communication when we're, coming up with game plans. For sure, he resources me just like I resource him with various thoughts. And then we have conversations about different packages, what players are doing, all sorts of things all week, so that, the bottom line is that we can all do whatever it takes to put the best foot forward on Sunday. So that is a fun part of being a head coach is your involvement, your connections with the defensive players, things that you don't get as much, when you're on one side of the ball, and being able to talk to those guys, watch those guys grow, watch the players develop within the scheme. All of that stuff has been very, very fun and rewarding.
With the bye week on the other side, do you feel you have to do anything to keep guys from looking ahead to it, looking past the Browns? And excuse me if the question itself combats that effort.
Yeah, when is the bye week?
No idea.
Our team, the Miami Dolphins, know Sunday is a game versus the Cleveland Browns, but more importantly, they know Friday practice. The best way to avoid people looking ahead is to act like it doesn't exist. So I think the best way to go into any week is learning from your mistakes after a win. So that would hold true with the bye week, I think. But we will learn a hard lesson very fast with a team coming off their bye week, going all in for a game to do right by their talent and their hardworking coaches and their organization and try to get a win. And if you think about anything else, you'll learn how to lose fast. So that literally how I approach it is the most extreme way possible, and that's act like it does not exist.
Mike, I got a question about your relationship with referees, and is that a valuable business relationship and something that you always seek to talk to the refs before the game?
I was hoping he wouldn't put me on the spot, but it's not monogamous, my relationship with them. No, you meet, especially your first go-around, as a head coach, you're meeting a lot of guys for the first time, just philosophically. I kind of approach officials like most people, and I just treat them like human beings that deserve respect. I think you have to recognize that officials are doing everything they can to do their job the best. They are held accountable for things that they get wrong. They are positively reinforced when they get stuff right by way of playoffs and Super Bowl opportunities. And so, although I value and prioritize treating officials like human beings, I don't really think it has either way. If I'm that way or the polar opposite, and don't treat them like human beings, I think they're going to make calls the way they make calls because they're trying to do their job. And it's a hard job, like a lot of people's in on game day in the National Football League.
And so I guess then you don't encourage your players either to get.
Oh no, I do make sure, make it very clear that, from my experiences in the National Football League, that that it's not their job for them to critique their calls. Like, it's not their job, the officials, to critique their play mid-game. Like, hey, you should have caught that, That's the equivalent. So if there's things that are happening that need to be brought to their attention, or anything beyond that, I instruct the players and coaches to go through me, and I try to be the lone vessel that speaks with those guys so they can not have extra crowd noise while they're trying to do their job.
Mike, I'd like to do a 2-for-1 just because I've been missing that part.
Because you're a huge fan of Tua.
Well done. So with Austin Jackson, it would seem like he probably will need at least another week not playing. I was going to check if that was correct. And then also, I know David asked Frank Smith yesterday about was there any possibility he could come back at a different position like left guard. Have you and Frank and Matt decided in your mind that barring injuries, you want Austin Jackson at right tackle the rest of the year, or could how Rob Jones and Brandon Shell play over the next 2 weeks impact that decision?
Seeing Austin progress his way back, I see Austin as our starting right tackle. However, just because I'm annoying, we'll play him at whatever position best serves us at the given moment to win the game, and we will not compromise his progress for the long haul to put him out there before we feel as confident as we possibly can that he won't regress. So we'll always look to think in terms of what gives us the best chance to win. Certainly the play of B. Shell lends us the opportunity to utilize him at other positions because his play has been so strong. But I still, without a shadow of doubt, haven't strayed away at all from my feelings of Austin being the starting right tackle because of what he's shown me coming back as he progresses, getting back, showing things, showing improvement in detail and execution of certain things from when he was in the groove before he got hurt. So nothing's changed with that. He'll be back there when it's ready, and we'll adjust him if it's the best thing for the team, which there's a lot of variables involved with that.
Emmanuel Ogba obviously has dealt with injuries throughout the season, but just hasn't been at the same level of production as he has in the past. Kind of what have you seen from him? What do you think, good things you could see that could lead to more potential production and stuff like that?
I'm not worried at all about the distinction in any sort of production because of what he's shown me in preparation as he's gotten back from or getting healthy. He right when he had progressed this season, I thought was playing his best ball and the stat sheet was going to start filling up. He had an injury setback that he's worked his way back from. The good news is I'm seeing some of the best stuff that I've seen, including the stuff from last year. I'm seeing it in practice. I'm seeing him get back into full health and full confidence. So it doesn't bother me because I can see that the level of stat sheet production is a matter of time because of how he's going about doing his job on a day in, day out basis.
What are your thoughts on Chubb? Which one? Nick.
Wow. Yeah, that was a Mike McDaniel special right there. Yeah, might. You'd be hard pressed not to call him the best back in the league. Simply because of what I talk to players all the time about. I see better and I hear, and the tape shows me that he's playing at a level that, you can't stamp that he's the best because you haven't been combing every player at the position throughout the league. That's kind of irresponsible, but I would be surprised if there's a higher level of play, simply because he's hard to tackle, and they hand him the ball, and you're trying to stop the ball. And that by itself, when you require, I don't know what the analytics would be on it, but I bet it'd be pretty crazy on how often the first tackler brings him down. That's where I see him at a level in his game better than any back that I've seen this season because of how hard he strains, how fast he is, his balance, and he forces defenders to tackle him every play, and if you let up at all, he'll have one of those rugby scrum explosives where he'll all of a sudden bust out. So we've been very, very forthright with showing the players his best runs of really his entire professional career, and to let guys know what they're in store for. Because what you don't want to do, any team can handle any opposing player if everyone does their job and is contributing in the right way. But if you're surprised on Sunday by a player like that because you weren't prepared for his type of play, yeah, you have no chance, and he's going to have one of those days that stick out on the stat sheet for the entire year. So deserves a lot of respect. They do a lot of great things schematically, and you can tell their offense understands how good of a player he is because they block hard for him, knowing that he at any given time can break a big one.
Your safety rotation since Brandon has been out, what do you like about each one of those guys, whether it's Rowe, McKinley, Fidge, or even Elijah Campbell?
What I like is that they give us versatility for different sorts of packages week in, week out, kind of like I look at offensive personnels where you can utilize specific skill sets for given matchups. I love that Brandon's a great player that you don't replace by one player. I think they've all understood that, and you're seeing different elements of people's game just rise up. One of the guys I was most proud of in the entire game on both sides of the ball was Eric Rowe. He played his butt off, and not only that was he making some plays in space on some offensive players, but he was trying to get turnovers as well, aggressively going after the ball, and it was an example of what you've seen this season from this locker room, which is guys recognizing opportunities and then trying to take their game to the next level to do right by the locker room so that our level of play doesn't fall off. And the whole room in general, each individual safety has different skills that we can utilize, but they're all understanding that it is their job to make sure that we continue to get better on defense, even though Brandon's not there.
Mike, you've got two guys, Teron Armstead and Xavier Howard, who it seems like can take almost anybody in the league one-on-one. And I'm wondering, is it that simple when you draw up a game plan? Can you just say, all right, X has got him, Teron has got him, and when they do that, is it mostly desire that makes them succeed, or is it technique, talent? Like, why are they successful at one?
So sometimes there is a time and place for that, and it does happen really within every game plan. Is you end up saying, all right, well, we're going to do this thing for the reason to play to our strength, one of our strengths being Tehran or X on both sides of the ball. And it's interesting you said that because you're exactly right. Players that are able to do that, it isn't necessarily their flat-out talent, even though they, for confidence reasons, they love to think that it's just their talent. But both competitors have this thing called competitive greatness that I see. I think that's a John Wooden, but it's being at your best when your best is required. There's certain people when the adrenaline is high, when the moment is large, there's certain people that get nervous and worry about failure. Then there's certain people that only see the rewards reaped from success. And those type of people when you're around, you can feel, and you rely on those people, and you want as many of those people in the building as possible. And I think Tehran and X are both prime examples of that.
We're about 94 days away from the Super Bowl.
About?
Yeah. But I'm still kind of disappointed that you still didn't get your crystal ball fixed yet.
I know, man. It's the worst. It would be so much easier if I could just shine that up and be like, hang on. Answer. Yeah.
But as far as complementary football, what the offense and the defense is doing as we look at dominating games, how do you feel you guys are getting close to that point as far as complete domination from start to finish?
Well, I mean, complete domination is kind of like it's kind of how you see it, how you kind of see it. Like, there's no complete domination in the NFL. I think you can have a very good game on all three phases. But like you said, I don't think we haven't yet had that game where we're like that you're shooting for, where you feel like each phase has played to its capability the entire game. Now, I believe we're close, and why I believe that has to do with not just the box score and the flat-out numbers, but you talk about football being a game of a collection of human beings that have to handle emotion, that are all trying to get the same thing done. And in it, we've had numerous games, this last game in particular, where, yeah, obviously the offense was having some success, and there was times in the game, however, the defense wasn't living up to what they have for themselves as expectations. And even though that our defense was really, gave up 2 explosives and then did pretty well, and then couldn't get off the field on third down with a scrambling quarterback. All of that being said, in the final 11 minutes of the game, they got 2 stops and no points. The game was 35-32 with 11 and change left, and that was the score at the end of the game. So that also, by happenstance, I think offensively we punted 1 time, but this is the NFL. It's hard to have success on either side of the either phase the entire game. They get paid 2. But when the offense didn't get points, the defense didn't allow it. It's happened on multiple occasions. Shoot, the Baltimore comeback everyone talks about. Well, all those points we scored, that was in the face of a fourth quarter where they didn't allow any. And then vice versa. The offense scored 7 points, I believe, the first game of the season. And we won 20-7 with a defensive touchdown and 2 field goals. So we scored 1 touchdown. The defense took over with the defense hasn't allowed 2 touchdowns, or there's 2 consecutive second halves that they didn't allow to score. There's complementary football within it. It's just going through the entire game that you feel it, that yes, that's what we're striving for sure. But along the way, we're learning these great lessons, and that's why I'm getting excited about the team, and how we're getting better each week, and that's what I hope for this week with the Cleveland Browns. I want to see continued growth in ways that aren't as maybe as obvious, just straight up box score, but we are learning how to step up in big moments, and the more you do that, the more you have a chance to have that game where everyone's high-fiving at the end and acknowledging that their best game was played.
Last question.
Can you speak to the overall team health? Seems like this is about as healthy as you've been all season.
Yeah. No, it really is. And you have your ebbs and flows of injury situations during the course of a year, but you get to learn a lot about people because it is a different form of adversity, and you get to learn a lot about how people step up in place of injuries. You get to learn about players that who are injured, how hard they work to get back. All of those things are very valuable, and you can hopefully bear the fruits of that when you do have when everyone is starting to get back and get healthy. I think there's a little bit of every season. I forget the exact statistics, but I think the amount of injuries relative to the whole season, that first 4 games is where players are most vulnerable because you're getting the callus built. And so I think around the league there's a lot of injuries, but you keep pressing forward, and as long as people keep taking care of their bodies, which the players are doing, that you can hopefully get health and continue to grow as a team as more and more. And now you just have a team that has a lot of people that have had more opportunities to contribute, and hopefully your team is better moving forward.
Thank you guys.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.